Hello, I'm Liam Fogarty. Welcome to the programme. Liverpool has always been a city of big ideas, and my guest today has some big ideas of her own. She's an entrepreneur, businesswoman and a campaigner. She hopes to turn a Liverpool eyesore into a park in the sky. Her name is Kate Stewart. Kate joins me today. How are you doing?
Hi, Liam.
This park in the sky is based around the Churchill Flyover, which people will know as that kind of enormous concrete strip of road that barrels into Dale Street. The council, I think officially, wants to knock it down. You want to save it. Why?
Oh, there's so many reasons to save it. Knocking it down is going to cost an awful lot of money. It's going to be very disruptive to the city. There are 25,000 tonnes of concrete in it. That's not a good thing to want to put anywhere, is it, really? It's kind of, you know, it creates quite a big problem around energy and recycling, etc., landfill. But more importantly, it is a structure, as you said, that's kind of very prominent in the city. It is quite divisive, and it does cut off parts of our community. It's in an area which has traditionally had some housing there, which has learning there, it has the universities there, etc. And it has our main cultural attractions there. It has the museum and the gallery and our fabulous new library. So we feel really it's time that area of town was reclaimed. It's kind of an unpleasant thing within the middle of that.
And you've helped to found this organisation, the Friends of the Flyover. What plans have you got for this enormous concrete structure?
Well, there's three of us founded the Friends of the Flyover, a little over a year ago, so it's been quite a fast-moving project, really, to be honest. We've achieved an awful lot in that time. For us, it's about 3 layers. So there's the flyover, which some traffic is on, not a lot of traffic, which is another reason why you know, the project's come about. Then there are walkways underneath, and the walkways are used an awful lot by students and residents that live around Marybone, St Anne's, etc. And then there's a lot of really interesting space underneath it. So we've got plans that cover all of those layers, if you like. And our plans for the ground level are quite immediate. So we've put what we call a pre-app planning application in, and we've put in a 5-stage project. And we're going to be doing some really cool things on the ground very soon in the new year.
But the thing that made all the headlines
was the top level.
Was the top level,
It was,
this kind of walkway in the sky. Now, in July 2014, you and your group seized control of this, and you took it over for a day. What did you get up to? We
had an amazing thing called Flyover Fest. Great fun day. It was kind of like a come and experience the city, come and experience the flyover from up there. We had traders up there, so food vans, all local traders, food and drink, etc. We had birds of prey. We had people doing workshops of painting on the floor with young people, talking about their vision for the flyover. We had lots of planting. We displayed all our ideas and we got lots of feedback. We did 5 hours of filming. We did a chat show. We did a 5-hour chat show which was filmed. So we've got a lot of footage about what people think about the flyover. And we had performers up there. We had music and theatre, etc. And primarily it was about people going up onto that level as pedestrians, as cyclists, and actually just experiencing the beauty of the city from up there.
Because there are some great views, aren't there? Because you look down onto St John's Gardens and there's the museums and so on. What kind of things did people say to you?
Gosh, we've been so overwhelmed by the amazing things that people have said that we've published a book about it, actually. We've got a book of quotes. One of my favourite quotes is one of the directors in the museum says, "This is the best idea in Liverpool in 20 years. I am just really cross it's not my idea." And I think that's the feeling, really, is people are just kind of like, what's not to love about it?
There are 1 or 2 other cities in the world which have done this. They've taken either old elevated railways or roads. New York is one, I think Mumbai is another.
Paris is another.
Paris is another. And what kind of inspiration are you taking from those?
It's really interesting because the 3 of us, none of us have been to the High Line, although obviously we're very aware of it.
That's the one in New York.
That's the one in New York, which is the famous one. And people we do get tagged a little bit as being Liverpool's High Line. I think what's really in common with all of those projects is that what they've done is regenerate an area. They've produced another tourist attraction. You know, and Liverpool's really keen at the minute to develop our visitor stay. So I think visitors stay in Liverpool something like 1.6 days, 1.6 nights is the average visitor stay. And there's a lot of facts and figures around if we could get that up to 2 nights, if everybody that came on average to the city stayed for 2 nights, the immense impact that would have on our economy. So, we're going to create another visitor attraction. We're going to create another performance space or stage or event space, etc. I think what we take from the projects that you've talked about is actually more about how they've happened. So it's less about we're going to look like the High Line, because we're not. It's a very different structure. It's in a very different space. The scale's very, very different. But we've been in touch with the founders of the High Line and their journey, if you like, from the idea in the pub, which they had, which we had, to how they made it happen, how citizens made it happen. And I think that's what's exciting about the Flyover project, is that it's citizen-led.
Of course, the flyover is owned by the council,
Yeah.
and the council's initial idea was to just demolish it.
Yeah.
Are the council helping or hindering your plan to build and
They're
to
helping.
retain the flyover?
They're helping. And I think it's really important to say that there's a published document, which is a vision for the city, called the Strategic Investment Framework. And there are lots of visions within that. And one of them is to redefine the public space around the St George's Quarter, basically, the Heritage Quarter. And as a result of that, to demolish the flyover, because it will become even less used and less important than it is now. There isn't a timescale on that, and there wasn't a budget put against it, but we've identified the cost of being about 4 million, and the council now agree with that. So whilst we are working with them in lots of different ways, there's still no timetable for taking the traffic off it. But we're working with different officers, we're working with transport, we're working with planning, we're working with urban design, we're working with licensing and parks, etc. So all of those different departments we're working quite closely with, and then we're working with elected members and the mayor.
And are they as excited about it as you are?
Yes, I think that's the really interesting thing, is that actually it doesn't really matter what anyone's role is, what their job is. Actually, on a personal basis, people just think this is an amazing idea.
You mentioned the figure of £4 million to make it happen. We all know what state the council finances are in.
They don't have £4
Money
million.
is tight.
Yeah.
So is this simply, quite literally, pie in the sky for a while, or are you waiting for a big outside benefactor to come in?
We're not expecting the council to pay for this, and I think that's really important. We would expect the council to contribute, but we're not expecting the council to pay for this. So, and I think that's that's kind of quite a vital thing about why we've done this. This was one of a number of ideas that a group of us put forward, and we called them provocations for the city. And we did it because we love our city, because we're really passionate about it, and because, actually, to be frank, in times of austerity, in recessions, that's when the best creative ideas come out of it. And we kind of said, well, we work in design, built environment, let's give a gift to the city of these 5 ideas. And this was just one of them, and it's the one that the city's leapt on.
But of course, one of the other things you do is this crowdfunding, the idea that people go online and you chip in, you make a donation, and you get a stake in a project.
Yeah.
You've raised just over £40,000 so far through that.
Yeah.
What have you done with that money?
What we did with the money that we raised for our feasibility study, it was money and it was in-kind donations, so it wasn't all money. In fact, probably only half of it was money, if that. It was around doing the feasibility and testing the idea. So we've done lots of surveys, lots of kind of looking at the history of the flyover, its construction, its condition now, what it's going to need in the future to keep it up in the air, as it were. We've done more design work. We've used it to fund the submission of our application to the planning department, which was a very complex application, to be honest. If you imagine it being on these 3 levels, and then also it's a staged process. So we're looking at, as I said, about a 5-stage programme. And to do more public consultation and to do things like the Flyover Fest event. We did an event at Light Night in May. So we've done 2 really big events, and then we've done smaller events and meetings with stakeholders, basically.
So say you do convince the council this is the way to go, and you raise the money. What kind of things can we expect to see on the flyover as we walk or indeed cycle across it?
We're viewing it as the whole site. So across the whole site, we expect there to be a visitor centre. So something that actually connects those 3 levels that I've talked about. Because at the minute, you can't get from being on the walkways to being on the carriageway. At the moment, there's no need to do that. But we imagine there being some sort of structure and building that would do that. And that will also be a kind of, an indoor space for learning. We've developed 5 themes, so we're working around learning and education as one overarching theme, then around community and culture. So it's very much an event space. There will be performances, there will be dance and music and theatre, etc., and public arts. It's quite a big part of that. Nature and ecology is really important. So in terms of growing the right plants there, plants that will not only survive, but plants that will enhance the atmosphere there. And then also,
You've got plenty on your plate, Kate. It's understandable you'd forget.
Health and well-being, there you go.
Of course. We'll pause there for a moment. We'll be back with Kate Stewart shortly.